Have you ever wondered what it would be like to have so much money you couldn't even count it all? I mean, so much gold that giving it away was like handing out candy, and you had an endless supply. It's a fun thought, isn't it? But for one man who lived a long time ago, this wasn't just a daydream. It was his reality. His name was Mansa Musa, and he was the king of the Mali Empire in West Africa. He was so wealthy that modern historians and economists find it nearly impossible to put a number on his fortune. They say if we tried to calculate his wealth in today's dollars, it would be more than anyone we know. More than the tech giants, more than the oil barons, more than any king or queen you've ever read about in a storybook. Mansa Musa, whose name means King Musa, ruled the Mali Empire during its golden age in the early 1300s. Now you might be picturing a European-style kingdom with stone castles and knights in shining armor. But Mali was something different and just as magnificent. It was a sprawling, powerful empire located in West Africa, covering lands that today are part of countries like Mali, Senegal, and Nigeria. The empire was rich because it sat on top of some of the world's largest gold mines. Gold was as common there as stones or pebbles might be in other places. This wasn't just a little bit of gold, it was an almost unimaginable amount, and Mansa Musa was in charge of all of it. But he was more than just a guardian of treasure. He was a devout Muslim and a thoughtful leader who cared deeply about his people and his faith. He wasn't a king who simply sat on a throne counting his riches. He was a builder, an administrator, and a visionary. He wanted his kingdom to be known not just for its wealth, but for its culture, its faith, and its intelligence. The event that put Mansa Musa on the world map was his incredible pilgrimage to Mecca in the year 1324. For Mansa Musa, this was not going to be a simple trip. He was the king of a vast and wealthy empire, and he was going to travel in a style that reflected that. His journey was less like a simple road trip and more like moving an entire city across the desert. Imagine preparing for a very long family vacation. You might pack a few suitcases, some snacks, and your favorite toys. Now imagine your vacation caravan included 60,000 people. That's right, 60,000. And the most amazing part? It included a long train of camels, perhaps 100 of them, and each camel was loaded with hundreds of pounds of pure gold dust and nuggets. Along the way, Mansa Musa and his caravan had to pass through different towns and cities, including major centers like Cairo in Egypt. He didn't just pass through quietly. He was incredibly generous to everyone he met. He gave gold to the poor, to the local rulers, and to the merchants. After Mansa Musa's Hajj, European mapmakers began to draw the Kingdom of Mali and its king on their maps, often showing him sitting on a golden throne, holding a giant gold nugget. When Mansa Musa's grand caravan arrived in Cairo, Egypt, it was a sight to behold. The people of Cairo were used to seeing wealthy travelers, since their city was a major crossroads of the world. Mansa Musa and his followers stayed in Cairo for 3 months, and during that time he gave away so much gold that it was like pouring water into a swimming pool until it overflowed. Mansa Musa gave away so much gold that its value dropped dramatically. There was suddenly just too much of it. This caused the prices of everyday goods like food and clothes to shoot up. It actually took the economy of Cairo more than a decade to recover from the king's visit. On his way back home from Mecca, Mansa Musa heard about the economic trouble he had caused. Being the thoughtful leader he was, he tried to fix it. This incredible event highlights a key lesson about wealth. It's not just about how much you have, but also about the impact it has on the world around you. Mansa Musa's journey to Mecca was not just about giving away gold, it was also about bringing back something far more valuable: knowledge. He returned to Mali not just with the honor of having completed the Hajj, but with a new vision for his empire. He wanted to transform his capital city, Timbuktu, into a world-class center for learning, culture, and religion. To achieve this, he brought back with him some of the most brilliant minds he had met on his travels. He invited architects, scholars, poets, and scientists from across the Islamic world to come to Mali. One of the most famous was an architect named Abu Ishaq al-Sahili, who he commissioned to build magnificent new structures. The most famous of these was the Jingueiraber Mosque in Timbuktu. Under Mansa Musa's patronage, Timbuktu flourished. It became home to one of the world's great universities, the University of Sankore, along with other schools and libraries. Students and scholars from all over Africa and the Middle East traveled to Timbuktu to study mathematics, astronomy, law, and philosophy. The city became a bustling hub where books were more prized than gold. The story of Mansa Musa and his incredible wealth echoed through time, long after his reign ended. His famous pilgrimage had firmly placed the Mali Empire in the consciousness of Europe and the Middle East. For centuries afterward, Mali was viewed as a land of legendary riches, a sort of real-life El Dorado. This reputation had a profound and lasting effect on history. Countries like Portugal, driven by stories that had been passed down from Mansa Musa's time, sent ships south to try and find the source of this incredible wealth. Mansa Musa's legacy within Africa itself is also powerful. He is remembered as one of the great leaders of the continent, a symbol of a time when African empires were centers of immense wealth, power, and intellectual achievement. His story challenges the often-told narrative that Africa's history is only one of poverty and struggle. He represents a golden age, a time of great prosperity and cultural flourishing led by a visionary African king. Today, the story of Mansa Musa continues to captivate and teach us. It reminds us that wealth can come in many forms, not just gold, but also knowledge, culture, and faith. As we look back at the incredible life of Mansa Musa, we are left with a story that feels almost too grand to be real. A king with more gold than anyone could imagine, a journey that changed the world's maps, and a city of learning that rose from the desert sands. His tale is filled with wonder, but it also pushes us to ask some deep questions. It forces us to think about what it really means to be rich. His story presents a beautiful and complex picture of wealth. On one hand, his material riches were the foundation of his power and fame, but on the other hand, his actions show that he believed true value lay elsewhere. In our world today, we are often taught to measure success by the numbers in a bank account, the size of a house, or the brand of a car. Mansa Musa's life offers a different perspective. It suggests that perhaps the greatest use of wealth is to give it away, to share it, and to invest it in the well-being and growth of others. So, let me leave you with this thought to ponder. If you, like Mansa Musa, were given an unimaginable fortune, what would you do with it? Would you build a monument to yourself, or would you build a library for your community? Would you keep it locked away, or would you let it flow like a river to nourish the world around you? The story of the Golden King of Mali is not just a fascinating piece of history, it is an invitation to define for ourselves what true wealth really is, and that is a treasure worth more than all the gold in the world.